Good morning. Hope everybody had a great weekend and a great happy 4th of July. So the weekend is over and we're back to it. We're going to take a look at the markets today. We're going to do something a little different today. We're not going to look at the top 10 and winners and top 10 losers. We're going to take a look at some things that are trending. And we'll get to that in a little bit. And we'll take a look at top shorted candidates where it seems like money is moving into. So let's get to the news. Mornings with Michael is brought to you for information and educational purposes only. If you need a financial assistance or guide, please text us and we'd be happy to sit down and go over your goals. World news. Reserve Bank of Australia, RBA, left interest rates unchanged at 4.1%, while it said some further tightening of monetary policy may be required. They remain resolute in determining to return to the inflation target. The bank said any tightening depends on how the economy and inflation evolves, and that inflation is still too high and will remain so for some time. China Caixin Services PMI came in at a soft 53.2 versus 56.2 expected. On to our sector news. Consumer, Tesla, TSLA. China output increased almost 20% in June, contributing to the company's record quarterly sales, shipped a total of 93,680 cars from its factory in Shanghai last month. BorgWarner, BWA, announced the completion of the spinoff of its fuel systems and aftermarket segments into a separate publicly traded entity, PHINIA. Rivian, Rivian is RIVN, ships its first Amazon electric delivery vans to Europe. More than 300 vans will hit German roads in the coming weeks. Energy, Industrials, and Materials, UPS, or United Parcel Services, shares slip as the Teamsters Union, that represent around 340,000 workers at UPS, says parcel delivery firm walked away from negotiations over a new contract, raising the prospect of a strike. Teamsters tweet says UPS was unanimously rejected by union's National Negotiating Committee. MP Materials, MP, shares rise in China's move to restrict exports to rare earth specialty materials, germanium and gallium. Ring Energy, REI, announces $25 million debt reduction in Q2 in sale of non-core Delaware basin assets. Net sales proceed from transaction used to further pay down debt. Financials. Brookfield Reinsurance, American Equity Investment Life Holding Company, AEL, announced that they have entered into a definitive agreement whereby Brookfield Reinsurance will acquire all the outstanding shares of common stock in AEL it does not already own in cash and stock transaction that values AEL at approximately $4.3 billion. Healthcare. AstraZeneca, AZN, downgraded to hold from buy at Deutsche Bank. Moderna, mRNA, said it has signed a memorandum of understanding and a land collaboration agreement to work towards opportunities for its research, development, and manufacture of mRNA medicines in China. Technology, media, and telecom. Semiconductor chip names looking lower after China's decision to restrict export of two metals, gallium, germanium, used in chips and EVs. Wells Fargo said Wolf, WOLF, they experienced constraints for GA non-SiC RF GaN production, while radio frequency front-end RFF players like Qorvo, QRVO, Skyworks Solutions, SWKS, and Qualcomm, QCOM, may also be impacted. The Biden administration plans to curb China's access to cloud computing services provided by companies such as Microsoft, MSFT, and Amazon AMZN. The Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday, citing sources characterized as familiar with the situation. Meta Platforms, META, or Facebook, lost its fight at the European Union's top court, toppled Germany's antitrust decision that imposed an overhaul of the US tech firm's business model. But they have come out with something to copy Twitter. So I guess Mark Zuckerberg is taking the fight to Elon before they get into their cage match. Netflix, NFLX, upgraded to neutral from sell at Goldman Sachs and raises price target to 400 from 230 ahead of the company's quarter two results. Wolfspeed WLF shares higher after signing a 10-year silicon carbide wafer supply agreement with Renesas Electronic Corporation, offsetting the China curb news for semis. And a federal judge ruled that the Biden administration likely trampled on the First Amendment in trying to eliminate what it saw as disinformation on social media, issuing a broad preliminary injunction limiting the federal government from policing online content. And that's our news for today. Let's share a screen. First, I want to share the screen about annuities. Annuities have been outpacing the indices, the NASDAQ, S&P 500. One of the reasons is annuities often give you a bonus of 25 to 37%, matching what you put into the annuity. And secondly, the annuities do not drop when the index or the stock market goes down. So once they go up the ladder, they stay up the ladder. And once they give you your interest and dividends, they continue going up the ladder and don't retreat, so to speak, like the market does. As you can see, the market pulls back. And if they have a really nasty pullback, it takes a long time for them to recover. And index universal life insurance is another avenue that has similar action. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And that's it for the share. Let's look at the map where the money is moving in the S&P 500. Microsoft is up 0.25%. NVIDIA is up 0.68%. Google is up 1.76%. Meta is up nearly 3% on that news, competing with Twitter. And utilities are up big. And real estate is up. So that's the look at our heat map in the S&P 500. Now let's go look at our indexes. First, we'll look at the NASDAQ index. It's up. It's pretty flat, down 0.04%. Let's look at the volatility or fear index. Wow, we got a huge gap up in the fear index. So this hammer pattern really did predict this move here. We got a gap. 100% of gaps fill on the VIX. So we'll have to wait and see when that happens. S&P 500 should be down today. It is. It's down 0.2%. Dow Jones is down as well. It looks like it's trying to fill the gap over here. And our small cap index is down as well. It's down almost a full percent. Look at the dollar. The dollar is bouncing again, trying to get above the 200-day moving average. Look at gold. Even though the dollar is moving up, gold is remaining steady. Oh, it has just proved me wrong. It's down, it's flat. It really hasn't moved much. Let's take a look at silver. Silver is bouncing up to its 20-day moving average. It's between its declining 10-day and declining 20-day. We'll see if it can get some more movement here. As we know, silver and copper are used quite a bit in EV battery production. So my theory is that it's going to be a bullish trend for a long time. Here is small copper mining in Canada. It's pulling back. Southern Copper is a much bigger pullback here. And let's look at Freeport McMoran pulling back quite a bit as well. These are all the copper mining issues. So that's the story there. The bond prices are I believe the highest level. And this is going to put pressure on stocks. Yeah, highest level in a long time. Looks like it's breaking out of this consolidation. So bond prices are now at 3.92 approximately. Let's take a look at the 20-year bond. They're trying to break out as well. They're bumping their head up against a 20-day, 200-day moving average. The 1 to 3 year bonds pulling back, so that means the yields are going up. Take a look at some of our ETFs. Financials trying to stay above the 200-day moving average. Energy is pulling back. Oil prices are bouncing. It's interesting. Rarely, if ever, you see that. So let's take a look at energy again. Wow, that is simply amazing. Google and Facebook are the majority of this index, the communication index, and you can see it's bouncing. Utilities, which were up, they got a big move off of the 10 and 20-day moving average, and now they're above the 50. Real estate was moving on our heat map, and sure enough, they're bouncing off of the 200-day moving average. Looks like they're breaking out of this consolidation pattern. Look at biotech, continues to lag and fall. Software is pulling back because of the bond yields moving up. Same with technology. Yeah. Technology and software companies have a lot of loans out there. And when the bond yields move up, it's putting more pressure on the loans that they have out. So this is why they have a high multiple and they tend to pull back a lot when bond yields move. Take a look at infrastructure, pulling back. Airlines are bouncing, been really strong, and they continue so. Take a look at the three big airlines. A little bit of pullback, had an opportunity to buy it here after it pulled back to the 10-day, and now it's bouncing back. American Airlines is set to take flight, and so is Delta. JetBlue taken off as well. Let's take a look at Alaska. And Alaska is breaking out as well. So to look at Airbnb. Got a pullback here. Couldn't sustain. We'll have to keep watching that. Our industrials pulling back, very similar to the Dow Jones. Our building materials got a strong pullback here. Mining and metals, same thing. And our leader was the home builders, and the home builders are pulling back right now. So, promised you I'd take a look at some. So the EV, electric vehicles, and Bitcoin miners. There was heavy short interest. A lot of people were shorting them. So let's take a look at what's happening to them. First, let's take a look at electric vehicle makers. Nikola was bouncing. It's up about 5% today. Tesla remains pretty flat after a big move on Friday. I'm not sure, this was Monday, day before the holiday. Got a big gap up. And the good story here is that it's not giving anything back right now. Rivian up about 2% after a big move on Monday. The screen went dark here. I think this is Beyond Meat. It's up about 6%. This is another heavily shorted stock. And Walmart. And a big move on Friday and Monday, but it's pulling back a little bit today. So let's go to our crypto miners. Once I figure out where I put them all. Riot. Looks like we got a breakout from this consolidation. Strong move on Friday or on Monday, and it's continuing that move today. We got a lot of good volume here. You want to see heavy volume on a surge in the stock, and that's what we got here. Go back to my list here. Now, Riot Platforms, they mine the cryptocurrency. So every one of these are going to look very similar to one another. Marathon Digital, look at this move. And we got a huge number of blue spikes here, a lot of volume. And it looks like we got a lot of volume today again. It's BITO. It's got a kind of a pullback here. This is actually trying to resemble what Bitcoin is. It tried to break out and it's had a pullback ever since. Coin. This is the brokerage that will sell you various cryptocurrency. Got a slight pullback today, but as you can see, it's really come off the bottom. Cathie Woods has put a lot of her money into this issue, so we'll have to just wait and see if she's right. Fisker, this is another electric vehicle that's up 2.8%. Let's see if we can get some other crypto miners here. Bitfarms. I guess we have to go back a little bit to really put it in perspective. It got as high as 936, got as low as 38 cents, and now it is breaking out. You can see broke out of this area. This is the sell area now. We'll see if we can consolidate before moving on. See. CleanSpark, another crypto miner to provide energy software in addition to crypto mining. Once again, in order to give this perspective, it had hit a high 25.12 and a low of $1.75. And right now it's at 5.24 coming off the bottom. Looks like we got a long consolidation and it's breaking out today. It's in this blue area. And for a share here for a moment. So we're going to look at one more crypto mining stock, and then we'll call it a day for the day. It's Hut 8. And look at that. And let's go back in time, look at perspective. Looks like it had a head and shoulders top. And the high was 1657. And then we hit a low over here of 78 cents. This is the consolidation. And we can see right over here, broke out of this consolidation and is just roaring higher. So will it continue? That we can't tell whether that can continue or not. That's why if you are going to buy these, it's learn to buy it right and not get greedy. Once it goes up 20-25%, it's good to take your profits. This is all for today. We'll get back to our regular scheduled look at the markets tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody has a great week. Continue going after your goals and your activities, and you will amaze yourself. If you have any personal finance questions, feel free to reach out to me. And in the meantime, have a great week.